Good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever it is in the world that you are, and welcome into the Anti-Stall Racing Touring Car Series here. And we are at the lovely Silverstone National Circuit, not the full Grand Prix layout, almost a little bit too far for these cars, but Silverstone National, going to provide some amazing racing, guaranteed. It's touring cars, what more do you need? Touring cars, two 15-minute races. We've got some good old 39C track temp, which, you know, maybe a little bit too hot for England, but hey, it's sim racing, you know, and we just want good conditions, right? Anyway, I'm joined here with Wes. How you doing, mate?
Hello, hello, hello.
And Wes, you've been here, obviously. You've been doing it for, well, this is the third race of the season? Second race of the season?
Second.
Second race of the season. So you can give a brief rundown then of what happened in round number 1. Who came out on top? Who are we looking out for? And also, the most important question, what car looks the best?
Oh, see, that's a difficult one. That's difficult. That's probably going to keep changing as the season goes along. But I can tell you that last time out, we don't actually have the championship leader here today, Brandon. He won't be here for this one, so it's anyone's game. So far, Brandon's the only one to actually win a race. 2 rounds last time out, and well, 2 races sorry last time out, and he took both of them. So he won't be here today. He actually took max points, which is 77. Just a random number for you, but that is the maximum points because you get a point for fastest lap, a point for pole, a point for leading lap, and the point for the most amount of laps led. And you can do that twice. Apart from pole, you can only do once, but you can lead a lap and get bonus points in both of the reverse and the other race. So yes, he's got 77 points, and that is the max. But yeah, he's not here today, but we've got more new drivers that aren't on that list of, obviously, championship standings because they weren't here. But yeah, we've got most of the cars from last time out back out again. It was a great 4-way fight in the reverse grid race last time out, and I expect the same again. We did actually have the same top 3 in both races. That will change, of course, as Brandon's not here today. Silverstone National should be a great close race, and there's going to be a lot of drafting, so this could be fantastic, especially for the reverse grid race, which I guess we're all looking forward to because it was actually fantastic last time. It took the Brandon 6 and a bit minutes to get back to the front, but in that time he went off 3 times. There was crashes, there was the gaff went for the lead and drifted into the lead and then lost it. It was absolutely fantastic. So I can't wait for this one. It's going to be even more epic than Brand's. And look wise, best looking car. Is it the pink car? Is it Blaine's? Maybe.
Is it Blaine's? I mean, it's nice. It's a Honda, so already I like it more. I like it. I think it's simple, but it works, you know?
Yeah.
It's that nice sort of balance between looking... Like, visually, you can immediately see it, right?
Yeah, it stands out.
Like, boom. you know exactly where Blaine is. And speaking of where Blaine is, we are here, obviously, in qualifying. 4 minutes of the session has gone, and he is currently sat in 7th place, 8/10 off of our pole position man, who is Gert de Graaf, with a 101.3. Now, I was looking... a couple of times people were posting earlier on, and 1 minute I was seeing coming up. So whether or not track temp has made a difference to that, obviously it is quite hot now for these cars. And just as I say that, Neil sticks himself on pole with a 1 minute point 8. So, I mean, hey, Neil, you put yourself on pole, you've gotten yourself a 4/10 gap. I don't think he's going to be happy with that, though. I think he's going to continue trying to push, isn't he?
I think, yeah, it's going to be crucial here because obviously not many corners, not really heavy braking zones either, so a lot is reliant on the draft. And I think, as you can see there down the straight, look, he immediately tries to get some of the slipstream off of Charlie down the back straight because it really, the times lap-wise are going to be really, really close here. Obviously, only a minute lap. And if you can get that draft, it's going to give you a couple of attempts. That could be a massive difference in position in qualifying here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing as well that you have to consider is these cars, I mean, they've got a lot of power for what they are, but in the grand scheme of, like, race cars, they're not the most powerful things in the world, and they're not the most aerodynamic things in the world either. I mean, look at it. The Honda is like, it's a brick, isn't it? Like... they're pretty much just bricks with wheels and an engine, and they go vroom, and that's all you need in a car. Yeah. They also provide some of the best racing that you'll ever see in iRacing, so, you know, make of that what you will.
Front-wheel drive beasts of cars, but yeah, because they obviously aren't very good with slipstream, the hole in the air that they're punching is massive from the car in front, so the slipstream really does have a quite a strange actually effect. If you will, when you're driving it, because you just do get a massive tow and it's quite nice. But it means it's going to be like pack racing here at National. You don't want to get out of the draft, and you can, if you do lose the draft, you're going to fall back a little bit because they are going to get a bit more speed than you. If you're there. It's almost like a NASCAR race, but obviously here at Silverstone National, which is a brilliant little circuit, as the British Touring Cars just went here on Sunday, and they had 3 brilliant races. So I know that today should be great. I've had a lot of fun here in the past in these cars, and yeah, it's great racing because it is so close, which means there's going to be a lot of door-to-doors and a lot of respect because this circuit is quite wide too.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, it's graded for the Formula One cars, right? So naturally, you'd expect it to be wide. I think one of the big things though is compared to the touring cars. Like, if you look at how wide some of these touring cars are, they're they're bigger than an average road car, but not by much. Obviously, they've got the wide body.
Yeah, it's the wide body kits, isn't it?
But they, like, aside from that, like, you could in theory make or buy something similar to this at home and stick it on your Honda Civic or your Hyundai or your Audi at home, right? Like, you stick it on your RS3 and you've basically got, you know, an LMS model. And it's something that I think more people can relate to when it comes to racing than, like, watching prototypes, for example. Right? Like,
Yeah.
if you've ever been to a track day in a front-wheel drive hatchback, chances are you have felt similar sort of, maybe not speed, but you've felt similar sort of experiences to what these drivers would have in the real world. And I think it's just really cool to see, isn't it? It's so relatable, so grassroots without being grassroots, that I think everyone can get involved and just enjoy what they're watching. And as you mentioned, the cars they're so close almost all the time because the power differences aren't there, right?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. They all have their own little sort of personal touches to them because they're all different chassis, so they all have their weaknesses and their strengths. But overall of a lap, as you can see, they're still pretty close. And we got obviously 3 Hyundais at the top, but those are all different Hyundais as well because the top 2 are Velosa ones and Electra in third. Neil's in third in the Electra. And then 2 Audis, and then there are a few Hondas that aren't even that far off either. So all of the 4 different, chassis types of these TCR cars are up there, and realistically they're all the same. They're all front-wheel drive. They're all basically got the same spec because they race in real life together as one single class. So they are designed to be close. The gaff just pips into pole, getting into those 1:07s now. It's so they're all designed to be as close as they can. Obviously, they're relegated quite well so they can keep costs down in real life. So it does add to the racing and make it even closer because there's not much of an advantage you can get in setup-wise. You can't do like an F1, just smash a different aero package on it and go. There's very limited in the setup changes you can make, as they were always talking in the chat this morning. Everyone was talking about what setup they've done and who's made what changes, because obviously they have changed the setup specification for the car since the last season, so some of the last season setups won't work, so everybody is having to sort of redo their setups. And circuits like today at Silverstone National, they don't go there now in the iRacing official series this year or this season, so some people have had to get setups from elsewhere, and they've had to put a bit of time in to get a good setup because it's not easy to do, and they can make quite a big difference with the small changes you get.
Yeah, and it's I think when you take into account obviously the lack of aero and everything else that's going on, it's just providing racing, isn't it? Like that's ultimately the end goal of what TCR is trying to do with its lower aero packages, is the power being super different between all the different cars. It is primarily, we want to keep the racing as close as possible without any sort of, teams feeling like they have a massive advantage in one area over another. And you'll see it in cornering speeds. The cars here are going to be so similar that any setup change you do make is primarily driver preference. You're not going to see the setup make a huge difference between, 5 or 6 cars worth of speed, because it just isn't like that touring cars. You've got I mean, in terms of adjustments, you've got suspension stiffness, maybe damper changes, brake bias, and that's about it. Really, in the grand scheme of things, and maybe camber and toe. Aside from that, that's kind of it. And, you know, while those things obviously, at the end of the day, do make a difference, it's not as much as I think people would like it to be.
Sorry, I'm just trying to sort your mic out for some weird reason. It's apparently coming along as crackly on the stream, but not through my ears. I'm just trying to change that. I don't know why it's doing that.
Good old tech issues. We absolutely love them.
Gotta love them. Just trying to play around to see why this could be happening. Good fun tech issues, but yeah, continue to work that out as qualifying is coming closer and closer to the end, as now we have got a train forming in qualifying here for people to try and get the best sort of times, and a little bit of racing happening too. People really trying to get the most slipstream they can. It is very close at the top here for the pole, but as Robert now pulls over and decides that he's not going to improve on that time. Gaff's not really on one, Neil's on one, but quite up to the back of Kevin Wesley Blake. Sorry.
Remind me again, we have 13 minutes? No, we've got 15-minute qualifying sessions.
Yeah, so we've got about a minute left, roughly.
And then after that, we'll have two 15-minute races.
Yeah, two 15-minute races, yeah. Reverse grid for race number 2, putting top 8 reverse, so whoever gets 8th for race 1 will start pole for race 2.
And obviously, reverse grids are something that provide a bit more interesting racing. I feel with obviously, you know, pole position being relegated to, or rather race winning relegated to the back of the grid, and fight their way back up for yet more good points. And as we said from last week, we had our race winner won both races last week, so clearly able to fight through traffic, wondering whether or not it will happen here today at Silverstone. Now, not the easiest place to overtake, but the slipstream will play a massive part and help. So, always good to see, as qualifying is well and truly over. Both races last week, so...
Right then, yeah. Race number 1 will be getting underway shortly. Still can't work out to do about your unfortunate clipping almost, but it sounds fine from my end, but not okay on stream. Can't work out exactly why that is, but we have to make do. Right then, the grid. The Gaff then will take pole and gets a little extra point for that. Neil will start P2, first race for him today. Robert takes P3, Niels takes P4, Tony P5, Steve P6, P7 for Marcelo, Charlie in P8, Stephen in P9, Blaine in P10, P11 for Peter, P12 for Kevin, and after Kevin will come Arjan? Maybe it's Arjan in P13, and Costa.
Arjan,
I think it seems right. Costa in P14, 14. Flashing of the lights and some cars. The Audi there, quite on an angle, isn't he, to start this race. But here we go then. Wait a minute. For gridding, here we go. The lights will come on now. Who's going to get the best start?
Green, green, green.
Oh, is it going to be Robert? Oh, in the Audi. Charlie Lord in the Audi in the background's got a good start. He's got on the inside, but not able to make a way through. I don't think that's Steve. As we survive, a little bit of contact further back from Charlie, but he has survived. He's side by side with Tony. Into turn number 2 for the first time. Everybody ahead is okay. They are okay. They're side by side as Neil goes to the lead. Everybody slides. A few cars actually missed the corner. Charlie could get 2 places there, but the leaders change and Neil goes into P1. And there's just action further back. Just cars everywhere there. It's 3 wide between Steve and Charlie. And I think Niels is involved there in the middle. Can they all survive?
5 wide.
They've all just about survived.
Bit of a push on the outside.
They're still side by side between Charlie and Niels. They're side by side further back between Blaine and Stephen as well. As they come across the line for the first time, Neil leads as they cross the line, but it's just cars everywhere for the midfield. They're 3 wide. There's a punishment for Charlie and Niels. That's a big one for them. They're both out. Nothing they could do at all. 3 wide going into turn 1. And I don't think they quite understood that they were 3 wide, to be honest with you. I think Steve was involved in that. I don't know if he knew they were 3 wide, but they all have collected each other. That's unfortunate for Niels and Charlie. They're going to be a little bit upset, I can tell, and I think the stewards will intervene then. But 3 wide on lap 2 into turn 1. It's unfortunate. Could be down to racing. I'm sure the stewards will find someone may be at fault there, but someone hasn't given somebody enough room. But that's unfortunate. We have lost 2 cars from this race. They do have maybe a quick repair so they get back out there, but I'll be surprised. But they will be a lap down anyway as we continue on, and it is under investigation from the stewards, which I'm not surprised about. But we continue on, sadly, without them. There, that's what I wanted. I wanted the amount of time left in the race, and I finally got there in the end, as Marcelo has gone up the inside there of Tony. A little bit of contact, I think, door on door. Not able to do it yet, but they'll still be side by side as they continue down. He'll slot back in, and he moves over to Tony, and Marcelo follows. Steve decides he doesn't want to play that game, and he actually might go up the inside here of Marcelo, and does so. And 3 goes. He might get on the inside of Tony. He's got a wheel there. He might just back out and slot in, and he does so. And it's a smart move. And Marcelo drops back down to P6. A little bit of contact with him and Steve, but it was fine. Put in the rear bumper. Costa has lost a position in P10 further back. Fast lap goes to De Graaf in P2. Not able to make anything of it just yet, I don't think there. Just ahead. Just a 10th off, just behind. Continue, Steve goes a little wide, but it's all okay, I'd say. We continue on lap number... Well, we'll be on lap number 3 maybe now. But it's unfortunate for the 2 cars, Niels and Charlie. What do you make of that one then? As old, drive through for 31. And 31 will be...
Is it not?
31 is Steve. Steve does get a drive-through then. Car number 31, which is in P5. The Hot Wheels car gets a drive-through for the contact. I'm not sure if he'll be able to dispute it before. I think he might just have to take it, which if he does. But, well, what do you make of that crash then? 3 wide in turn 1 on lap number 2. It's always asking for a bit of chaos, isn't it? Apparently Tony's gone off.
Always.
Oh, Tony's had a big one. I'm not sure what Tony's done if he was on his own. Let's have a little look. I didn't quite catch if he went on his own or not. I was looking at him and I didn't even catch it. Has he just... Oh, something's gone wrong for Tony. Oh, wow. Something has broken there for Tony. something on definitely on his end is broken there. That's unfortunate for him. He was running in P4 and now is out of this race. What could you say there? Because steering wheel maybe malfunction there as Blaine goes up into P7, P6. Sorry, maybe not. Pedals. It just kept turning, didn't it? Coming out of the turn and just didn't straighten up.
It's connection.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Because he's already gone.
Is he disconnected now as well?
I believe so. If not, he's all the way back in the pits.
That's unfortunate for him. Yeah, something's gone horribly wrong there as they're side by side here. P6. They're also quite close for P4 between Steve and Marcelo. Steve now with that drive through. I'm sure he'll dispute it maybe and keep driving, or maybe he'll just try and take a time penalty at the end or something. We're having that discussion, but he's a bit busy fighting Marcelo for P4. And in the end, oh, it's close, but Marcelo will have to go the long way around. He's going to have to try and slot in, and he does slot in nicely, get the slipstream out of that corner. Robert's just a bit far away. They're a little bit fighting, I think, for P1 as well, but it's covered at the moment. Steve sticks to the inside. Marcelo's going to have to go the long way around if he's able to do so. I don't know if he's going to be able to. He's going to keep trying. Drive through for number 42. That is Peter Greenwood. For the incident with him and car number 28, which is Costa, which we haven't seen, but we'll try and find. So Steve, there you go. Steve goes to the drive-through now. He takes it and has to relinquish P4. Peter Greenwood, which is, I believe, found in the pits, has got a drive-through, and they made that one pretty quick. We'll have a look in a second, but Niels is under pressure from Steven, and... Sorry, it's not Niels, is it? Is it Niels? Racing here, Steve versus... Yeah, it is Niels, and he's a lap down, so Niels allows the cars through. Doesn't cost them too much time, and we will now go see what happened to Peter Greenwood and Costa. Peter got a drive-through for this one. What's he end up doing here then? So Peter the Honda on the left-hand side, and I might have to watch that again, to be honest. Just to see exactly what happened. Who comes across who? Okay, the stewards have decided that's Peter's end result, but there's another 2 cars off before turn 1. But the stewards have already been quite busy here today. Sorry, I think you're entertainment, so you can't dispute the driver as it's an in-game, in-race penalty, so you can't dispute it. So I guess you have 3 laps to take it, I assume, then, because it looked like Steve took all of his time to take it. Better try and do that as well over after this. I'll try and make a new audio thing for it. Right, Ava, do you want to give it a go again? I've made a new audio output, see if... Oh, now it's just actually, now I've just fully apparently muted you. It's not that new device I've tried to make didn't work because I may have done it wrong. And we're
Not the greatest.
not the greatest. They can still luckily hear you, but maybe I'm not sure exactly how it sounds at the moment as they continue to fight for P1. I was meant to add that like that and do that. Right, so now we'll give it a go. Walk now and maybe.
And let's see.
Well, I can see you moving on the audio things, but I'll find out whether it's good enough or not on the stream as they continue to fight for the lead.
Hopefully it's all fixed, as we have an amazing fight for P1 round between Gert de Graaf and Neil Ferrier.
Seems to still be doing it, which I'm not exactly sure why. Can't work that out. It's just skipping almost Couldn't tell you why, because you sound fine on my end just through the stream, which is interesting. I don't know why it's doing that at all, as they continue to fight for P number 1 quite close. Bit more drama in this race than last time out, I must admit. Already more crashes, and that's a fake out, twice fake out nearly from the gaff there. Looks to the outside. Gonna have to go the long way around if he's going to go through, and he's not going to go through there. But it's a good close fight for the lead. Robert there in quite a lonely P3, but I think he'd be happy with a podium place. The gaff actually hasn't got a point for leading the lap yet, because he wasn't leading across the line, so at the moment Neil's got all of the laps led. But I can say it's not exactly a completely dominant display, as he is getting pushed along from the gaff. Still quite close here with just under 5 to go. Getting pushed along everyone else. Has maybe got a bit of a gap now. The drive-throughs for Steve and Peter really have spread out a bit. Steve's still though in P7, so still not at the back after his drive-through, so be happy with that at least, but he has got a 10-second gap to try and cut back up the plane, which would be quite difficult to do. Now it's continuing to be extremely close between these two. The gaff pushing Neil along. Got 4 minutes to try and find a way through here. There are different places to try and overtake around this circuit, so he will have an opportunity at some point, I'm sure of it. The fast lap goes to Neil, even though the gas lap was quicker. He probably just got an off track on that lap, so it won't count. So again, another point going Neil's way in his first race in the series. Continuing to pull points in. It's extremely close. Can the gaff get a run? He got P2 in all of the races so far this series. Is he going to get another one? But this time behind a different driver. Looks to the outside once again. Not able to find his way through just yet. He's just trying to find a gap. As soon as he gets a gap, I'm sure he'll go for it. But Neil doing a good job of covering off the inside line and getting a good exit from each corner to make sure there's no way through for the gaff. But he's close, not able to do so. Charlie Lloyd now has actually continued in this race and is just behind Peter in P12. So there is a fight continuing now for P12, and that is points on the board that will matter in the long run. Again, another fast lap there for Neil. This time he actually was quicker than the gaff. He's only by a tenth of a second, but every little tenth matters. As it's still Marcelo in P4 and Stephen in P5, just a second back. Robert safe in P3 for now. Just going to keep his head down and drive a good cautious races now. Can Graf find a way through? Neil is, look at that, he's hugging that inside line, he's hugging it. There's no way through there, he's not going to allow that. You've got to go around his outside if you're going to do anything here, but it's going to be really difficult to go the long way round that corner. Try and find one there, but again Neil covers it. He's going to have to go all the way around here. It's possible. The cutback I think won't quite work. Be surprised he won't get the run on him, and it is quite close between Charlie Lloyd and Peter. They're now fighting for P12, and I think Charlie Lloyd has just took that place for P12. They continue to fight for the lead. A little bit of a slower lap that time as they continue to battle. Gaff can't find the inside line. Neil's got it covered extremely well. Continue to fight it out. This time not really making any headway there. He's actually lost a bit of time there when they cross the line. Will this be the last? This will be the last, because obviously it's about a minute for a lap, so it will be the last as they cross the line. We're going to go on to the final lap, so the Gaff's only got one more lap to try and make his way through here. Again, the lap time's extremely close. This is probably the bigger gap that they've had starting lap for a few laps now. Can he find his way through at all? Neil's done a great job of holding the inside line. Keeping it steady. The Gaff will have to try and find a way to the inside. Neil will cover it immediately here. Goes all the way to the left and will stay to that white line. Won't give the Gaff any chance of going up the inside. So it's going to be the long way round. Look at him almost pushing him down the straight nearly as they pick up all the dust. The Gaff goes to the outside. Neil goes to the normal racing line. Will hold the inside. They're close. They swap bumpers almost there. Now to the outside. The Gaff has to go the long way. Can he do it? Can he keep the car or the slide from the rear a little bit? Will he get a better exit? Because it will be the run to the line. Kevin is battling for P9 at the moment. But it does look like Neil will take the race win in race number 1. And his first race in the series. He will take it. The Gaff again will take second for the 3rd time in a row. He put up a fight though. Robert will take P3. Marcelo P4. Stephen P5. It's close between Kevin and Kevin actually P8 there. He's through. He's managed to make his way through on the last lap. They had quite a close battle. The 2 Audis. Kevin will take P8. I think Charlie did get P in the end for P12. But Kevin will take that. That actually mattered quite a bit there, the battle for P8, because that's pole for Kevin in race number 2. Go see if we can see the pass from Charlie Lord on Peter for P12. And this is it. Up the inside, down the main straight into turn number 1. Oh, it's quite close. They're both a little bit slide. He got the rear, but eventually Charlie does get P12. As everybody has come across the line for the end of that one. We'll be going to race number 2 very shortly. There will be a little warm-up, so we will go through. That's going to be the qualifying results. I'll update you anything. So we'll just get the race results up quickly. There we go, race results from race number 1. Is that the right points? 31, 35 is wrong, isn't it? No, that was the right results. Sorry, that was the right points completely. It is 35 points for a win there for Neil. Takes round number 3 of the series. First race for him. The Gaff again in second. Robert in P3. So there'll be swapped. Neil will start P8 in race number 2. Kevin Burke will start pole. Steve, that had a drive-through in race number 1, will end up in P2 for race number 2. And Costa and Charlie Lord and Peter Greenwood will have a bit of a fight to get back through from the back of the grid. Same with Neil's on after that unfortunate lap 1 incident. Now, they apparently are on said grid. If I can find somebody to go on board of, that would be a good start. Let's go to said grid before they go. There we go. No, grid, please. There you go. Now they're gridding up. Here everybody is then. Grid then for this one. Kevin Burke will take pole. P2 for Steve. P3 for Blaine. P4 for Steve again. Look at that. It's different names. Same outcome. Look at that. P5 for Marcelo. P6 for Robert. The Gaff takes P7. Neil for P8. Arjan. We'll go with Arjan. P9. Tony P10. Neil's P11. Charlie Lord P12. And if it just goes over a couple more, Peter Greenwood P13 and Costa P14 as the revs starts to build. 10 seconds till the lights go out. We're waiting for Kevin Burke actually to get to the grid. Pole man. This is what to reverse grid will do. Here we go then. He's on the grid. Here come the lights. He's in an Audi. Should get a good start. Let's see how it goes, though. Somebody at the rear of one of the Audis. Robert nearly jump starts. He doesn't. He manages to stay within the lines. Oh, it's a lot of wheel spin for Kevin. It's a lot of wheel spin. Steve's gone. Everybody's going to try and mug Kevin. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars round. Tony on the grass. I think they've gone 3 wide into turn 1. And everybody is fine. Kevin's down racing with Charlie in P8. So that's where he's dropped to. All the way back to P8. But Steve has gone at the front. Here we go then. There's already drifting somewhere. And there's Kevin. There goes Kevin. And Charlie Lord might have had a crash with him. He's got off as well. We'll come back to that. That was flying. The pole man is well off the road. Steve tries to get away from any sort of slipstream down the back straight. I'll find out what happened in the end, Charlie has continued. Kevin's eventually found the road. I don't think he ended up hitting the wall somehow, so he is still in this race, but it looked like that was going to be an absolutely major crash. Right then, the race winner from last race has already found himself in P5 after that start. So he's done well. So leading the lap point goes to Steve after his drive through in race number 1. He leads the first time lap in race number 2, but he's drifted through turn 1. He's still drifting now. Blaine will take the lead. He's going to drop down maybe to 5th. Oh, they can't help themselves. It's free wide nearly again. It's now free wide. There's a little bit of shoving into turn 2. Everybody sorts themselves out. The Gaff and Neil are carving their way for the grid. They're actually going to get another place. They're going to be free wide out of sight. Oh, they're still nudging. Neil's got up to first. He's caught Blaine. He can't do anything. Blaine's around. Neil's around. Steve's around. Everyone avoid. There's cars everywhere. They do avoid. They all end up off the road. Oh, that was unfortunate. They're still free wide after all of that. They've all got back going. Blaine had nowhere to go. I don't think anyone had anywhere to go. I'd be surprised if they can find a Blame in the end there. Marcelo's trying to get through to the lead past Stephen. Round the outside he goes. Who will be leading the lap at the end of this race? It's under investigation. To be fair, I don't know who you want to put the blame on there. There was cars bumping everybody. It was free wide. They bumped, and I don't think they could. But anyone could really do anything about that. It's all unfortunate. They've all kept going. Who leads this lap? It's Stephen gets the extra point just from the Gaff, which is up the inside. They're still somewhat side by side. The Gaff might now take the lead. They're going to rob each other. They're going to lose probably the mirrors. Here comes Marcelo. It's absolutely frantic. This is exactly what you would expect as they break into turn number 2. It is still Steve that leads. The Gaff in second now. Marcelo third. Robert 4th. Neil's in 5th. Tony in 6th. And everybody has continued pit exits for Neil and Steve, as they've probably all, and Blaine I think as well, they've all jumped into pits to quickly get some repairs done to their cars after ending up all up the wrong way. And the Gaff has found the inside. He's got up the inside of Stephen. They rub, they touch, they're fine. That is as close as you like. He's going to shut the door now probably on him. He's left the door actually quite open for Steve. And Steve will put the car there, and they're going to touch on the exit. They door bang, which is expected. And Steve will again probably lead the lap as he comes around. Robert has decided that he's got some damage and he needs his car fixed as well, which is unfortunate for him. I thought he might have just avoided everything, but Steve again leads as we cross the line, but it's extremely close. And they're going to bump doors again into turn 1. Steve leads. The Gaff will have to settle for P2 for now. Tony goes a little bit wide. He's going to try and find the inside for turn number 2. Not quite. He's actually pushing him into turn 2. Careful when you brake. Stevie, you're going to make the corner. Everybody does make the corner. It's a very tight exit for the Gaff as Marcelo's all over the back of him trying to find a way through as they almost push. I wonder if the cars that have pitted somehow will manage to get back to the front of this field. It'd be extremely exciting if they can. There's a few cars further back there. It'd be quite hard, but nearly free wide now. Up the inside goes Marcelo. I don't know, will he be able to just get him? No. Everybody this time round a little bit more calmer, but even then it's not that calm as there's a touch there from the Gaff and the back of Steve, telling them to hurry up as Tony's going to join the pack, and there's now going to be 5 for the lead. Absolutely brilliant. Unfortunate for the 3 that ended up spinning at the start. We'll probably get back to this. Look at that, everyone just moving around, trying to find the best place to go. So close, bumper to bumper through turn number 1. Better exit for the Gaff. He's found the inside now for turn 2. Here we go. The best chance he's had so far. He's found the inside. Marcelo's trying to find the inside on him. He has to cover off while attacking Steve. Does everybody brake? It's super difficult to brake on these cars. They're going to touch doors once again after this race. I can't wait to see the side of Stephen's door. And it's going to be absolutely destroyed. Robert there just up the front after he had to pit for some damage, which was unfortunate for him. Now out of this race, he was in P4, but the fast lap has been set by Neil in P11, 12, and they're going free wide maybe again. The Gaff, is he going to go around the outside? He's got to complete the move. He's going to finally be in the lead. I'd say he's got the inside now. Marcelo's going to try and follow him through. It's going to be quite close. Steve should possibly just be able to keep P2 depending on the exit of the corner, and it is going to be finally the Gaff will lead a lap and get an extra point. Steve falls down to second, but Marcelo's already on the attack. I think he's actually... Is he just alongside? He's got one of his wheels alongside him. He will be alongside by turn 1. They touch doors again. He was there. Steve's going to get nudged out a little wide, giving Marcelo a little bit of a flash. He probably wasn't too happy with that one. He felt that maybe he didn't need to go up the inside there, and Niels will go through as well, or attempt to go through on Steve. Let's see if he can. Steve will squeeze him and stay there. I think Steve will survive. Depends how Niels is. They might touch wheels. No, they're fine. And the inside is Stevens on the back straight. A little bit of slipstreams helping Nils get alongside. Tony now as well involved here in P5. He looks to the inside. Can Steve have a little bit of a break? Sorry, Steve. Probably prefer to be called Steven than Steve, but there we go. Steven still in P3, and Nils just covers off P4. But here they are, 5 for the lead. It's the Gaff, then it's Marcelo, then it's Steven, Nils, and Tony. Charlie Lloyd trying to catch back up after being, well, involved with a spin earlier with Kevin. Then there's Arjan and Peter and a few others trying to catch back up after their spins. It was very unfortunate to watch them all spin out. I don't think the stewards have come to this conclusion on that because there was so much going on. We will eventually go back and check if this ever dies down, but to be honest, I'm not sure if it ever is, as Nils is under attack, and he's going to get a little bit of a tap from Tony, and round he goes in the rear left corner of his car. He's now having to wait for a few cars. You can go probably now, Nils, but that's unfortunate for him. We'll have a little bit of a look back on that one. Let's have a look. So Tony will get a run on Nils going up the inside. I think they all get a bit squirrely under the brakes, and let's have a look then. So Tony brakes later, goes up the inside, a little squirrely from Nils. Oh, it's quite unfortunate, but... And it is now under investigation, that one. I'm not too surprised about, but it's very unfortunate. Let's see if we can go back, all the way back, to see how everything unfolded in the first place with the crashes that were. The big spins. See if we can find it. See, it doesn't come down as like a spin, does it? Or does it? Maybe here. Steve went off, Robert went off, Nils came back on track. That might be it, to be honest. That might be the moment where we can go and have a little look at what happened. So, well, immediately, it's all kicking off. Let's have a little look. Run down here. 10-second post-race for car 12. Brilliant, and we just watched that. That's Tony. So there's a touch there, which touches him, which touches... Oh, to be fair. Right, so let's watch this in a little bit of slow-mo. So, Steven touches the side of the gaff, which accidentally touches another car, which then makes Blaine spin, and then Blaine's spinning, which then spins Neil, and then Steve has nowhere to go, and Blaine collects Steve, and Steve can't do anything, and then I think Robert then has to avoid Neil, which isn't going to be possible. Quite is possible. I don't know where he picks up his damage, but luckily all 3 of them then spin off to the left, and then the rest of the cars can avoid. But in hindsight, it's just a lot of door-to-door, which ended up spinning all the cars out, which is massively unfortunate. Of course, they're all picking up damage, which has cost them a bunch of time, which is massively unfortunate. But good luck to the stewards. I think a racing one might come down there, but it literally is car touches another car slightly, which forces that car to touch another car, because it was so close, pack racing, and it's unfortunate it spun 3 of the top ones out as Steve gets spun, Nils got spun, Robert went off, as well as Blaine as well, and you know, you can't do too much. It's just really unfortunate, isn't it, of how that's all worked out for those cars. It's big racing. But yeah, car 12 then of Tony gets a drive through for the incident with Nils there, so P4 is going to lose a few places, which will promote a few other cars, but they have spread out just a little bit for now. But yeah, so we'll have a different winner here today. So we have 2. We won't be a 2 from 2 from Neil unless he can really pull one out of the bag. But he's not got that many minutes left to be able to do so, as Neil he's just passed Kevin Burke, which we saw go massively off at lap number 1, wasn't it? So we'll actually go back and have that one because see what happened there as we've got a bit of time. So what happens then to Kevin? Door-to-door with Charlie there. A little bit of it's all fine. As we come to the braking zone, car behind, it's all good. Oh no, he's got collected by Charlie, and that's where Kevin goes. So Charlie ends up collecting Kevin. We have another little look at that. Does he come across him a little bit? Can we say that, or is it just? Well, let's see what the stewards say about that one. I don't know if that was under investigation, but that's what's happened between Charlie and Kevin. As another move has been done by Neil. He's slightly climbing up the order. Neil then has just passed Costa for P9, so we'll go have a look at that. Here we go then. How does Neil then get up the inside of Costa? on the brakes. Oh, Costa's actually, I think they're teammates, aren't they? So that's what's happened there. He's not fought him for that one. Blaine has just passed Kevin for P11, and I think we go to the one before that because they've passed each other several times. So round the outside goes Blaine on Kevin for P11. Off then goes Blaine. Kevin then goes back through round the outside, and I think Blaine eventually will get the move done on the inside, and does so. Right then, what else is going on then? Steve has also passed Kevin too, but the closest battle I'd say on track is now for P6, and there's a few cars probably under investigation, but have fun with the stewards. I said to the stewards before that they'll be alright, there won't be too much that they have to do. I apologise to them. Yeah, like, I apologise, that might have been my bad. I shouldn't have said that you won't have much to do. For Tony in race 1, the issue he had was his frames dropped to 12, so he couldn't actually see where he was going. So there you go. That's like a post-race penalty for car 15 in the end. So car 15 was the one that ended up getting dead blame. Ha ha ha. That might. Oh, that's the gaff. Oh, it's the gaff. The leader has ended up. I didn't notice that at all. So the leader has actually got a post-race penalty then for the incident where it was the free, the free car contact where they all went off in the end. We're about a 3 wide now for P7, or is it P? It's P6 as Peter Greenwood goes wide. Arjan would try and go through, not able to go through just yet. Niels is involved. He got spun earlier, but he's back now in the racing. So it's again another close freeway battle. This 9 for now P6, which could be higher actually, because Tony, of course, in P4 has a penalty. Charlie had an incident earlier, which I'm not sure if has been decided upon yet, in P5. And the leader apparently also now has a 10-second post-race penalty as they cross the line there. Niels has gone through into P7, trying to go around the outside to P6, and he's actually done so. Brilliant move there from Niels. There he goes. Into P6. And it's close between Peter and Arjan, but it stays as it was for them two. Maybe a good run here for Arjan to get through, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Yeah, I'll just go back to that. So it is instant between the... So it's a driver penalty car 31. Which was... So Steve got a... That's in race 1. Okay, that was race 1, of course. We watched him do the drive through there. So then 10-second post-race penalty for car 15, which is the leader for the freeway crash, which is now... The gaff is gone from the leader of the race. No, he's back, so his connection just fell out for a second, but he's back. He's actually okay. So he is still in the lead, but he does have a 10-second post-race penalty from the stewards for the freeway contact that we witnessed earlier on, and it was a 10-second post-race for Tony after the incident with Niels has of course been given as well. So a minute to go, and it does look like actually in the end Marcelo is now at the moment on course for victory. So his battle between him and Steven is for the win realistically now, because 10 seconds is not what the gaff's not going to get 10 seconds here. So it's going to be hard fought for him to try and get there. But as Kevin Burke has just taken Costa for P12, let's have a little look to see how this was done. Up the inside of turn number 1, it's a bit of a lunge. Oh, and Costa's got a bit squirrely, and it's allowed Kevin through into P12. There's a 3-second gap now. It's 7 seconds to get... Well, we're on to the final lap. I don't think the gaff's going to get 7 seconds on this final lap unless Steven does something from behind on Marcelo, which is going to cause chaos. But he will drop back a bit. He will drop back. Will he drop back behind? He won't drop back behind Tony, because Tony's got his own 10-second post-race penalty to deal with. So what's the gap in the end? So where will the gaff go? He'd stay he'll actually finish P3 because Tony won't be there, but he'll still beat Charlie Lord, so he might lose the win, but he'll stay on the podium, which is unfortunate for him for losing the win, but that's what the stewards have deemed. So the gaff will cross the line, the winner, but he won't take the victory because of post-race penalty after the incident with him and a few other cars. Marcelo will take victory in race number 2 here at Silverstone. He flashed the lights. Stephen Fry takes P3. Tony will take P4. He's ended up all the way over there. He won't take P4. I think he gets 10 seconds, doesn't he? So he won't finish P4. Charlie Lord will cross the line 5th, but we'll find out at the end exactly where he gets after all the post-race penalties. Niels will get P6 in the end. P. Greenwood P7. Arjan P8. Neil, after being spun in this race, which is massively unfortunate for him, will get P9, which may stay P9. I'm sure if he's 10 seconds behind. Let's see, is he 10 seconds behind Tony? Yes, he is definitely 10 seconds behind Tony, so he'll stay P9 in the end. Steve will take P10. Blaine takes P11. The 3 cars that were involved in the spin at the start was unfortunate. Kevin will take P12. Costa takes P13. Robert, which had to avoid all the carnage, but then go into the pits and get some repairs, will take P14, which is unfortunate because he was in P4 when he pitted. So a massively unfortunate race for quite a few cars, at least 5 cars here in the last race here, getting massively unfortunate with incidents around them, which has stopped them from getting some good results in the end, which is unfortunate. So some 10-second post races will be added on. That's the results from race number 1. We'll show you the feature now. The Gaff will get a 10-second time penalty onto his time, which will demote him actually only to 3rd. So he'll drop down to 3rd and get 29 points. Instead, he'll get points, of course, for leading a race as well. So he will pick up in the 30-point region still. Marcelo, though, will take his first win of the series in P2 after the post-race penalties are done. Stephen Fry takes P2. Tony won't take P4. He get a 10-second penalty and it'll put him back behind Niels, actually. So the 10 seconds of penalties almost worked there after the contact he had with Niels. So he'll finish in P6 and Charlie Lord will take P4. P5 will be Niels's in the end. Peter Greenwood will stay just about in P7. Arjan in P8. And Neil after being spun, as well as Steve and Blaine in the big incident down the back straight, which is none of their faults really if you think about it. They all couldn't do anything about it. They'll take P9, P10 and P11 respectively. Now it's unfortunate that we've had some audio issues, which has really been quite annoying. Bit of talking in the group chat. I wonder what he's done there. What did he do there? I wonder. I'll wait for that to be discussed between a few of them. But yeah, that's massively unfortunate for some. But yeah, we've had some connection audio issues there, which is unfortunate from a co-commentator. We'll try and get that sorted. I'm not sure exactly why that's happened. But yeah, what a brilliant racing there. Well done to Marcelo for actually taking the win after all the penalties are combined. I'm not exactly certain how the standings will look at the end of the day because I don't think sadly that works fully, but I'm sure it's been thrown up in the air as Brandon Hawks isn't here and he have quite a time to try and catch back up now after missing this round. Of course, no sort of drop scores here. Right, next race though, in a week's time. Where are we? Let's have a little look at the information. It is Donington Park national layout. We get another national layout at Donington Park next week. In a week's time for 2 more races of absolute chaos with the TCRs, and it was brilliant today. Well done to Niels on your win for race number 1, and unfortunate in race number 2. Well done to Marcelo for the win in race number 2. Well done to Stephen Fry and everybody involved. Unfortunate for Blaine and Steve today. Steve, very unfortunate today with what's happened going against him, really. Looked like he had some good pace, but he'll take P10 in race number 2. Donington Park next week should be good. Hopefully we'll have Brandon back as well, and the fight for the top honours should be extremely close. Thank you very much for joining us today for the TCRs. It was brilliant. Well done to everybody. And we'll see you Friday for the IMSA series, which is... Let's have a look where the IMSA series is this week on Friday. IMSA on Friday is Daytona International Speedway on Friday for the IMSA series. So do look out for that one. It should be a good one. Of course, next Monday is the IndyCar series once again. And the IndyCar series next week is at Long Beach, 60 laps. And then, of course, we're back here on Tuesday nights for touring cars at Donington Park. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.